Hello, everybody, and welcome to another review of this Oxford United season. I'm sorry that it's a day late. Hopefully, it will not be a dollar short, but it's well, let's just not beat around the bush. We know the score in this one. Oxford were away to Accrington. It finished Accrington Stanley 1, Oxford United 1. I've got my brother along with me here. Robert, say hello to the good folks.
Hello, good folks.
Very good. But I watched the game whilst doing a live stream on another channel. Robert, you probably watched the game more intently than I did, so I'll come to you for more of the review bit. But in a season where trying to remain optimistic and desperately trying to look for like every single crumb of a silver lining I can't help but feel this one feels like another kick in the balls.
It's exactly what it feels like. You know, we're filming this a day afterwards. The angers should have gone down a little bit. But when I sort of like we were talking beforehand, I could still feel myself getting annoyed by it because this was just so stupid. And we've been here so many times before. We've taken the lead, we don't take our chances, we suddenly decide to sit back, and then we concede the goal, and then we bemoan about the fact of how unlucky we were. And we keep doing it. And slightly skipping ahead here, Accrington Stanley, massive credit to them. You did well, you got a draw, but they weren't exactly peppering our goal with chances. They had like two or three shots, and they still managed to bloody score against us. It's just pathetic.
Yeah, well, Accrington make a habit of doing this to every single team in the league, I think, of being a side where you think you should beat them, but they are very, very stubborn, very hard to beat, very well drilled. But when you look at it, we bemoaned all season about the lack of players we've got. They've had something like 9 players out injured for this game, including some of their key players like McConville up top. So it can't help but just feel again, it's another massive missed opportunity with the difficult fixtures we've got coming up in December after this. And Oxford named a pretty strong side.
Good side.
Yeah, you had Lewis Bate in the midfield alongside Brannigan and McGuane. You had Henry, Taylor, and Marcus Browne up top. And Billy Bowden could have come in, but apparently he had a bit of a hamstring niggle. But still a strong lineup with the likes of Murphy back in, Yannick close to being back in included. Oxford can't use this injury excuse anymore, Robert.
Well, who have we got at injuries anymore? We've got Yannick, Baldock, Joseph. Anyone else?
Yeah, I forgot about Joseph, but not really anyone else, is it? And not like you can't say it's like, well, when you compare it to Accrington having 9 out,
Yeah.
it makes
You're always going to have players that are injured. Baldock, we don't know what's happening with Baldock. Yannick is probably a couple of weeks away from being back. Murphy's getting his fitness. Joseph should be back probably early January, and hopefully, he'll be back. Be back in form. But we've got a few players that are injured. Nothing is like as bad as it has been, and so can't use that as an excuse anymore.
Going into the game, it was 0-0 going into half time. I don't really think it was a great first half. The main thing was a Lewis Bate chance that hit the post. Was there anything else, Robert, that you noticed about the first half?
No, it was. Elliot Moore had a free header in the box at one point. One of the Accrington Stanley players, I'm sorry, I did write his name down, but I can't find what he was now. But he made an outstanding challenge on Marcus Browne, who was bursting into the box. Other than that, nothing. Just a few corners and sort of long throws into the box and sort of pressure, but nothing concrete at all. It was really quite a dull first half, in all honesty.
Yeah, Accrington didn't have many chances. There were a couple of times where I thought Oxford looked a little stretched on the counter attack.
We
But
were we were pushing forward, and they were obviously looking to try and nick us on the break. And so obviously there were times when we sort of looked a little bit short. But again, that never really ever came to anything. It was sort of like I think our centre halves played quite well in Finley and Elliot Moore.
Yep. Well, that took us so into the second half. Then Oxford did find the lead in this game. Notoriously this goal has been blacked out from when you watched the game live or when you saw any replays on iFollow. But there is actually footage of it now. Have you
I
seen
have
it?
seen footage of the goal. The
Okay.
iFollow camera, for some reason, decided to look at a completely different area of the pitch whilst all the action was going up at the top end.
I
But
don't know if you've seen it, Robert, but actually, like from the camera, they've got a picture of the
yeah,
goal. You can see the other camera pointing down like from where it's completely missed it. It's quite
There's a
funny.
butterfly over there. Ooh.
I mean, it probably shows you what a game it was. The cameraman just couldn't be bothered to follow the ball. It's so look, Marcus Browne's done very well. He's kept this ball alive when it looked like it was going to go out for a goal kick, and he's got a ball across to Henry. Henry in the right place, having a bit of a tap in, and you know, good stuff. Great, Oxford take the lead. Can we kick on though?
No, we cannot. Just minutes before that goal, Matty Taylor missed a really good chance. Again, we started the second half quite brightly. We actually, this chance here, we burst down the right. Good cross came in and it was skied over the bar. As Radio Oxford described it, think of the goal that Memphis Depay scored yesterday. And instead of it going in the back of the net, it ended up in the car park.
Yeah, I know. I've watched that. First time you said that, I thought that was a little harsh. Watching it again, it's a really bad miss. He's in lots of space.
He should
He
finish
should at
it.
least got to hit the target.
Yeah, if nothing else, he should work the keeper.
Yeah, so I know there'll be a few Taylor haters shouting about him on that one. Donker would have scored it.
Mm.
Well, he might have done. Can't really argue with that. But in typical Oxford United fashion, we don't get that second goal. And as we've seen in away games against Shrewsbury and against Pompey, we get pegged back. And what a goal. What a goal. It's a weird one.
I think we don't quite agree on this. Like, I mean, I feel bad about criticising Simon Eastwood because seconds before we concede, he makes an outstanding save that genuinely should have been a goal, and he saves it. Goes out for a corner, we clear it, but don't get the second ball. The guy picks it up and he fires a low shot, 25, 30 yards plus out from the goal, and it goes in. Now, I don't know if Eastwood doesn't see it right until late, or it catches him out. I don't know. But looking at it, you think he should save it. And I do feel bad about criticising Eastwood because he's getting a lot of shit at the start of the season. And I think his form in recent matches has been excellent. It might not demonstrate itself in terms of like the overall results, but we can all think of individual amazing saves he's made, which have made no difference because our defence let one in a few minutes later.
Yeah, well, I agree with what you're saying. I just got a couple of points, and I always like to look at goals from both sides of view anyway. And from an Accrington Stanley point of view, if you are an Accrington fan and you've managed to get to this point in the video, you deserve a lot of credit. But what a hit. Like an amazing strike from close to 40 yards out. He has drilled that into the bottom corner. One of the goals of the season for them, for sure. From an Oxford United point of view, there's two things that bother me. One, this guy is someone that they've targeted as having a hell of a rocket of a left foot, and they've allowed him to take 2 or 3 touches in midfield to get himself set to have this shot, and no one's blocked him. And then, I'm sorry, he's got to save it. Eastwood has got to save that shot. He cannot be beaten from 40 yards. I don't care if it's like how good of an effort it is. He should be saving that ball.
I saw a couple of comments of people saying, "Oh, Eastwood let another one in." You're thinking, don't start that again. He's been very good for us this season so far this season, and this goal, yeah, he might have done better with it. But then again, if he hadn't made that amazing save 30 seconds earlier, someone else would have got the equaliser.
But we're so bad at protecting our keeper.
Oh, we are.
Like, we're really bad. Like, yeah, okay, he lets the odd shots in, but we're so bad at shutting people down when they have shots in and around the penalty area or the edge of the box. We invite these kind of goals, and it's not surprising that we concede a lot of them. I mean, not always from that distance. They're usually from a lot closer. But yeah, it's something that hasn't been worked on, and it was a problem last year, and it's not been addressed this year, so it is annoying. But that happened with 5 minutes to go. You had the usual kind of like both sides. Oxford then panicked, tried to get a second goal. Then you were always Accrington threw everything at it to try and get a winner themselves. And I guess in the end, you're kind of, on the one hand, gutted that you didn't get 3 points, but when you concede a goal in the 85th, you're kind of a bit thankful that you do hold on and get the draw.
The annoying thing was, though, it wasn't sort of like it was an absolute backs to the wall, Alamo, chops it. They pushed on because they had no choice. It was coming to the 85th minute and they were losing 1-0. Any side will be putting you coming forward. But Oxford just letting them advance. And you could just see it coming and you just feel like we keep making the same mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's just so infuriating.
when Oxford don't get that second goal and we don't kill the game off, we're just literally
Yeah.
asking for trouble. We rarely do hold out. When was the last time we won a game 1-0? Well, I can tell you that. I think it was away. I think we won one at Cambridge for second game of the season, but away from home, a 1-0 win. I think it was Crewe, which was maybe back in like February or March last season.
Jesus.
Which again was a real like dog of a game that Oxford just nicked, but we don't do it very often. So there we go. There we have it. This one ended 1-1. It leaves Oxford where we have been at the start of the game, kind of in that mid-table to lower half. Not really looking up than looking down, depending on if you're half full or half empty kind of guy. But yeah, it's just frustrating. It just continues to be frustrating, doesn't it? It just wants something to breathe life into this season, but it just keeps middle of the road plateauing.
You just get these little moments along. We win last, we get a good draw in the cup. We sort of have a good cup tie. You're sort of thinking everything's a bit positive, and then we have a result like this. And I'm sorry, the comments after the game by Robinson of like we played really well, and then you think like, no, we didn't play very well, Carl. If we'd won that 1-0, we would have been lucky. Because frankly, a draw was the right result for this game. But neither side deserved to win it. But once you go 1-0 up, we should have seen that game out, and we don't. And and I keep repeating myself, we keep doing this, and that's what's so infuriating about it. And then he doesn't seem to know how to address this.
He doesn't. No, he doesn't. He doesn't at all. And another thing that just annoys me about this one, and we did talk a bit about it yesterday, is Oxford had a free week this week.
Yeah,
If you go back to October and you go back to not even really November, but if you certainly go back to October where we had a lot of games in a short space of time, you can give the excuse of the players being tired or a bit leggy or whatever. Oxford had a free week going into this one, and we're in a little period now where we just play Saturday, 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 Saturday. These players should have been fresh. These players should have been at it. These players should have been. There should have been a lot more intensity to Oxford's game right from the start, and that's what annoys me is we didn't see it. It felt like a very flat game, and I just don't know when you've got a whole week to work on that, why the players just turn up and they're not more proactive to go out and take the game to Accrington and win the game.
I mean, what's the excuse this time? I mean, we can't use injuries, we
No.
can't use fatigue. What else is left? Why are we producing poor performances like this?
Yeah.
What's the reason, Carl? Come on. I know you don't watch these videos, but I'd love you to explain why are we producing crap like this?
Yeah, and don't be and you've already said it, and I'll just reiterate the point of this wasn't a game where Oxford had like 20 shots and we were unlucky, or as a keeper had an amazing day, or we just was terrible with our finishing. We got Accrington had more shots, they had more shots on target, they had more possession, and they had more corners. So you tell me if that was a good performance looking at the stats.
So many hours on from the game, we're a bit more calm about it. I think we're more angry than last time we spoke.
Yeah, I know, it's almost like we've picked the wound again.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe that is a good way to say it, and maybe we should just let this game heal, and no one will kind of remember it come the end of the season, and probably putting this video out at the time I'm going to do it, no one will probably watch it. So I think it's just cathartic, Robert, for us to be able to talk about it, and maybe we can move on. Have you got any other final thoughts to say?
Um, Only that I thought Kieran Brown had a very good game. I would say if I had to pick man of the match, I would have said Kieran Brown. I thought he was excellent. He was constantly going forward.
I actually thought both Browns played okay. I thought Marcus Browne did all right
Yeah,
today. I thought there was a couple of times he looked to get into attack the space, and there were some very cynical fouls on him to stop
yeah.
his momentum. And as you said, yeah, centre backs Finley and Moore do look better the more they play with each other.
Anderson didn't have a great game, but you can see what he sort of brings to it. Lewis Bay, I think, looks a decent, very good midfielder. Brannigan and McGuane seem quiet. I don't think they contributed an awful lot between them. Taylor, I think he didn't have a great game either. Henry,
Just a finishing
okay.
from Matty Taylor, isn't it? Some of his all-round game looks okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether we can get. It's Josh Murphy. He's now gets back into fitness and he's able to start providing more chances. Maybe that will help boost Taylor's confidence. I don't know.
Yeah, so big games coming up, starting with Barnsley next weekend, and then we move into the Sheffield Wednesday away game, which actually might be a game I get to go to. And do you know what, Robert? It looks like I might be in the Sheffield Wednesday end.
Wow.
Someone
Sheffield
from work.
Wednesday fans,
I know
identify him.
someone
Identify.
from
Look at
work might
that
be giving me a
face.
free ticket, so I might be able to go. Anyway, that will do from us. Thank you very much for watching. We Accrington Stanley fans, if you can leave your comments, that's great. I always like to hear what the away fans have to say about a game, and let me know what you thought about Oxford and your season. Oxford United fans, I know there'll be a select few that leave comments every time, and I really appreciate it. And hopefully you do again for this video. We'll be back. I'll be back. I'll be doing some more World Cup stuff as the tournament progresses, but I'll be back to do a review of the Barnsley game. Robert, as you said hello to the good folk, can you say goodbye to the good folk?
Goodbye, good folks.
Thanks for watching. See you soon.